Charlie Spencer for Rod TV. Here we go.
We came to SEMA, the largest automotive trade show on the planet, in search of rat rods, new rat, and to find out what the experts think of this new hot rodding phenomenon. We're talking with Randy Grubb, who built the ultimate, what would we call this, the ultimate rat rod, the king rat rod?
Yeah, we refer to it as Pissed Off Pete. It's got a little bit of attitude to it. It started as a 1960 Peterbilt semi-truck, model 351.
Can we say that, Pissed Off Pete, Peterbilt? Okay.
There you go.
Well, tell us about this.
Well, obviously one of the most outstanding features is the motor. The 12V71 Detroit diesel. Built in 1972, the Detroit diesels were the backbone of the American trucking industry all through the 70s. It's a rather unique motor in that it's a two-stroke. This particular motor is what we call a 12V71. It's a 12-cylinder V configuration, and each cylinder is 71 cubic inches. The motor has 4 exhaust valves and no intake valves. The blowers are actually stock application for the Detroit diesels. In fact, the Detroit diesel is where we got the 671 blower that we pulled off motors like this to put on our hot rods.
What's this sitting on?
This is sitting on a total custom chassis that I've created myself. Some of the more salient features are the semi-truck front axle. There's 9 inches cut out of the very center of the axle, welded back together. Everything that you see on the front axle is nickel plated. Now those are riding on a custom set of 12-spoke spindle mounts that I designed and had blown up from the classic spindle mounts that we all know and love from the hot rodding world, but there's nothing available in the scale that I'm working in. So everything from my wheels to my rod ends to my radius rods are all custom built. I'm the Blastoline guy. I built Jay Leno's tank car and a lot of other really outrageous V12 powered hot rods, and it's basically, I work single-handedly in my shop in Grants Pass, Oregon, and there's a whole lot of fabrication that goes into a piece like this because the scale that I'm working in, there's really nothing available. So everything from rod ends to wheels to axles, I have to custom fabricate or modify extensively to make them work in this particular application. In back of the big 12V71, we have an Allison 4-speed automatic like you'd find in a Greyhound bus. In back of that, we have a Rockwell rear end, very large semi-truck rear end that's had 5 inches cut out of the long side. Semi-truck rear ends are always, the drive line is centered, and that means the pumpkin is off-center. So what we did was cut 5 inches out of the long side to put the pumpkin in the center. And as you can see that the pumpkin is such a visual feature on this particular sculpture that it would be very distracting to the eye to have that pumpkin 5 inches off center. The rear end is actually loaded with 260 rear gears, which is an extremely fast semi-truck ratio, and that's attached to a set of super singles, the widest semi-truck tire made, and the tire's 44 inches tall, and even with that tall tire and that very fast gear ratio, the 1,200 foot-pounds of torque that this motor generates will light the tires for 3 blocks.
It's a lot of feet.
It's a lot of feet and a lot of torque.
What about the cab?
The cab started life as a 1960 Peterbilt model 351. It's a long, narrow nose that's been chopped like a hot rod would be chopped. It's 5 inches out of the back and 7 inches out of the front, so that's a wedge cut chop, which brought the lid down on an angle. I've done things like recontour the windshield opening. The windshield opening used to come straight across, and it's been recontoured to follow the droop of the cowl, which kind of gave the part of the attitude that you see with this particular sculpture. And it's really all about attitude and performance. It's very important that all the Blastoline vehicles are full function automobiles. You can actually drive them down the street, and this particular truck is actually licensed for street use, but we have also run it down the drag strip, and it'll do 90 mile an hour, 15-second quarter miles, even with 7,800 pounds of vehicle weight.
Honey, I'm going up to the party store I'll be back in 32 seconds.
That's it, baby. And when you're driving this thing, you are the king of the road. I don't care what else anybody else is driving, but it's very much a gentle giant in that the 4-speed automatic out of a Greyhound bus allows you to just start it up, put it in drive, and drive it just like a normal car. And like I say, all the components were originally designed for an 80 to 150,000 pound semi-truck. So things like the steering, it doesn't even know that it's turning this little light little hot rod, so you can turn it with just one finger on the wheel.
What we want to know is, where's the rust? And the bullet holes. There's no rust, there's no bullet holes, and no old paint.
Well, that's why it's really just such an honor to have you guys even looking at it, because unfortunately aluminum doesn't rust, and everything on the vehicle is either stainless steel, which doesn't rust, or aluminum, or nickel plating. So thanks for allowing me to get it in the show without having to shoot it full of bullet holes.
Racing legend Al Unser Jr. Just in case you don't know who that is.
Who's that?
That's for the record. Al Unser Jr. So what do you make of this whole nostalgic hot rodding craze?
Well, it's definitely brand new to me. I've seen it. I don't know that much about it, other than you take an old hot rod, all rusted out, piece of shit, and make it run. So
Did he say piece of shit? He said piece of shit.
It's a little bit out of left field for me.
But you're a driver.
Yeah?
You're a driver. What was my other question? Oh, do you know the difference between a hot rod and a rat rod?
Rust.
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 We're here at SEMA, 500,000 square feet, 500,000 people.
You ain't gonna find any rust here.
We're searching for rust and rat rods, and there aren't. There's only two.
Yep.
So your Indy car, to some people, would fall in the rat rod category.
No.
Well, because it's
maybe
made of parts.
somebody else's IndyCar would, but not mine.
But it's made up of
No.
different parts, and it's like guerrilla engineered, right?
No. Not
No,
at all.
we're incorrect again.
Not at all. That's
So you
right.
you would say that your Indy car wasn't technically a rat rod.
None of my IndyCars were.
There was no rust. There was no rust on it.
Nowhere near it.
But it is made of parts from different places.
It's made of parts from different places, mainly England.
Well, that would make it a rat rod.
And no,
No.
there's no rust.
Well, some people say that a rat rod is a car that's made of parts from all different cars and thrown together and handmade in somebody's garage.
But they gotta be old and rusted and junk. And junk come out of a wrecking yard. And no, none of my Indy cars came out of a wrecking yard.
Okay.
We put some in the wrecking yard.
But you didn't build them with parts from
we
it.
never did. No.
Okay, so
Not at all.
we've established the fact that Al Unser Jr.'s Indy cars are not rat rods.
That is correct.
He's made that perfectly clear for everyone. So, would you consider building or buying a rat rod? I mean, would you drive one of these pieces of crap
No,
around?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Because I like to go fast, and going fast in something that could fall apart or
So you're
break.
saying that rat rods are unsafe?
I wouldn't say that they're unsafe, but it takes somebody that's pretty out there to drive them. No doubt about
Especially at the speed you're comfortable with,
it. That's correct.
which is your cheeks pinned back.
That is correct.
All right, well, just a little side information here. There is a real hottie inside her modeling next to a car. She's probably 2 points above a 10.
Cool.
We just interviewed her, and we showed her a picture of a rat rod,
Yeah.
and we asked her if she would consider dating a guy. If he pulled up in front of her house in this car, would she get in it? She said, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. So,
Well, again, that's
Just goes
how
to show
old I am.
this goes to show that rat rods could help you score.
Good on them.